What's up, guys? So I got another project going on, kind of unexpected. I actually got two projects going on right now. So let me show you what I got going on. One's pretty rough. It's going to take a lot. I've kind of already started on it, so I'll probably give y'all some videos of what it is and what I'm doing. So let's show you. So my garage is super dirty right now, but yeah, I mean, I've been doing 15 projects at once as usual. So what I got here is a solid killing machine, first generation. So it had a bunch of weird brazons everywhere, like this guy for gyro roller. Still got the roller over here. So knocking all this stuff off. Going to kind of show you a little bit of the frame restoration. It's got some dents I've kind of sanded to kind of show. There's a bunch of stuff on this other side too that's pretty gnarly. So like I said, I've already taken off some of the brazons, the weird brazons that somebody put on. This dropout doesn't look bad. This dropout has definitely been cut. So it had some weird bracket thing that they welded onto right there that I've already taken off. So it's going to be a tough one to restore out. You can see these gnarly fucking dents. Of course, mid-school, you're going to get some of that. So I'm going to try to get some of these out with doing some metal work and, filling them, and just trying to work it as best I can. It's, dropouts are actually kind of easy, but man, dents like this, man, they're a bear to work with. You have to try to pull them and everything, and this stuff was not made, that thin of material. I mean, we're talking mid-school, so yeah. So let me get on this. I'm gonna rip some of these tabs off the front, and I'll kind of start showing you what I got to do to get all this other stuff taken care of. So kind of show you what I do. I just clip some vice grips. Sorry, my torch kind of get open. But I just heat the shit out of this stuff. You don't have to get it like cherry red because the brass is at a lower melting point than the steel. You're not going to really hurt the steel by doing this. But yeah, you just heat it. Get it evenly heated, and eventually this thing will just rip right off. And then I'll clean it up, file it up, and I'll show you that on the next video here. So again, just heating this up, gonna get it warmed up enough where I can just pull it off with the vice grips. And yeah, so it just snapped off the little end piece right there. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm going to slowly just work the metal down until it's where I need it to be, because I can't really get a good bite on that. The vice grips they keep slipping off. So I'm going to go ahead and I got my little finger grinder, so I'm going to just sand that down until it's not there anymore. Again, it started out as like that, so that's probably what I'll have to do with this side too. So yeah, let's get on this. Again, this frame's pretty rough, but I want it to be, back to fresh. So, it's one of my extra projects that, I just kind of took it on. I was looking for a new project, but this thing is, this one's a hard one. All right. So like they always say, it's, ugly before it gets. So I just ground off, the meat of it. So I'm going to take my little finger grinder, which is this little guy right here. If you don't have one of these, I mean, you can buy these on Amazon. There's your brand for you. They're pretty cheap. They're super useful. So if you just need to like shave some stuff down here and there, these little finger grinders, I kind of put it off for a while, but man, they do the job. And this one's cheap enough that only if you use it a few times, it pays for itself. All right, so I got most of it grinded down. Still looks kind of ugly, but yeah, I'm gonna hit it with a small file, a little jewelry file, kind of clean that up a little bit. I don't want to get too far. Like, as you can see, I kind of hit some of the weld there, so I'm getting so far down that yeah, even the finger file is too much. So I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna pull out my little jewelry files and just kind of lightly go at it until I'm happy with it. All right, so I think that's probably where I'm gonna call it quits. I don't want to work it too much. Again, I mean, the weld's right there, and then the other one's right there. But as you can see, if you look close, I'm starting to get kind of down into the welds in different places, just with sanding alone. So I'm right there. You know, you gotta always work until it's to the point where it's like you can't really, because I mean, if I keep going at this, I'm gonna start losing my welds, and then I'm gonna start getting into the metal and everything else in between. So there comes to a point with anything where it's like, just leave it alone, because, you know, my powder coat guy is fucking awesome, and he's gonna get this thing buttery smooth looking, because it's still gotta go through sandblast. So I might metal finish it a little bit more just by, you know, using some Scotch-Brite and whatnot. But yeah, there's a little bit of brass stuck in the welds, but you're not gonna get that out. You know, and then once powder coat's on it, you're not even gonna see it. So powder coat covers up a lot of welds. So, you know, and shout out to Aaron Huff and the boys at Solid. I know Solid's not really around anymore, but man, these welds are pretty clean. I mean, come on, look at that. Like, you know, you don't see welds like that much often anymore. I mean, you know, these frames were, Solid has always been one of my more favorite companies. You know, I've always had their cranks, but yeah, I actually broke a set of their cranks too. But you know, those dudes are awesome. They warrantied them for me. So but yeah, I gotta get the other side, so kind of give you a before and after, before and then after. So again, as you can see, where it starts, you know, you can see kind of how it's all brazed on, all boogery. So yeah. All right, to show you all the next deal on this frame, it's the ugliest part of the frame. I mean, I got all the brazons off. The brazons, you know, they're actually somewhat easy to do. Kind of history of what I used to do. I used to work for a frame builder that did you know, brazed road bikes, so I'm familiar with the brass stuff. But the next thing is truly pretty hardcore damage, and it's going to be actually my first time trying to pull some dents out of a frame. I put dents in a frame intentionally and unintentionally, but yeah, let's I'll show you what I'm dealing with here. So like I showed you in the previous video, you know, mid-school stuff, it gets beat. So I've sanded it down, not only because, you know, I need to sand it down to get it cleaned up, but just kind of show the highs and lows. You can see some little dings. These little dings, I'm not too worried about, but like that guy and that guy, you know, it's kind of deformed the tube just a little bit. It's really not as bad as it looks on camera, but again, there's some little peaks like right there. So I'm gonna kind of squish it a little bit and try to push that piece out. I might have to kind of weld a little thing on there and try to rip it out. And then like with this little stuff right here, I'll probably just put like a little tiny tack and then metal finish it. So that way it's, you know, not Bondo and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm trying to make this thing look right. So yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can work this out and kind of explain the process. You know, and what it is I'm gonna pinch it, I'm gonna put it in some wood blocks and everything and just kind of work it. Again, I'm not gonna get it perfectly smooth doing that. It's almost impossible. So in the end, I'll probably have to do like a little tack here, a little tack there, you know, so on and so forth. And then you know, and then after I get where I want on that, then I'm gonna fix this Dropout. Again, it had a weird bracket thing welded on here. I've already cut it off. But again, I gotta fix it, you know, so that way it looks like the other one. The other one is pretty much perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. They did cut these Dropouts up a little bit. So I'll probably fix that while I'm at it. You can see they kind of like hacksawed them in or something. Nothing too crazy. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, I've definitely seen worse. So, yeah, let's see where I get at this. So what I'm kind of starting out with, I just got some regular vice grips. I'm just clipping them on. Use my bare paws to kind of squeeze, and then I'll adjust and squeeze and adjust and squeeze. You know, see how much of this dent I can kind of work out. I'm not clipping them down, but I'm getting some pressure on the dents on the sides to see how much that'll work out. And I've seen a little bit of progress so far. Again, it's not going to get perfectly smooth, and the highs and lows are going to kind of show me where I need to be. So again, I'm going to keep working on it, and hopefully I'll get pretty close. All right, I've been working a little bit. As you can see, it looks like it's kind of coming up. Don't mind the scratches from the vice grips. Again, I'm gonna keep sanding it. As I sand it, it's gonna tell me like my progress, I guess, because, you know, a lot of this stuff will start disappearing, and that's what I want. The more it disappears, the straighter it is. So again, I'm gonna sand it down. Got a little dent over here. Not quite sure how I'll try to pull that out, but that will probably get a little bit of a tack weld just to fill it in. But you can see there's a little peak right there, so that will get pushed down. And got one over here too. Again, this frame's pretty beat, so that one I'm pretty confident I can squeeze out. So yeah, I'll keep showing it to you as I go. You know, yeah, this frame was pretty rough off, but yeah, I'll get it back to where it's supposed to be. All right, so I got a little bit more progress here to show you. Again, working these dents out. So it's looking a lot better, but it's far from done. But let's show you the next kind of like where it's getting there. I'll keep sanding it and working it until it's roughly about right. So let's flip this around. Okay. So, of course, you know, like I said with the other stuff, you know, it's always going to look a little bit rougher till it looks good. But as you can see, these dents are kind of coming out. I'm using some heat. I got a little torch right there, and I'm just kind of working it, you know, massaging it, you know, clamping it, pushing the metal in places. And yeah, as you can see, you know, it's far from done, but it's come a long way. I mean, that's getting pretty close to as far as I can get, really. And then I'll just I'll metal fill it a little bit. It's still hot, so I don't want to touch it. So as you can see, I still got a heat mark on this one, but even this one's coming out. This one I haven't really worked on too much yet. I heated it, but again, so that will start coming out. You know, you want to heat the little dip area, and then squeeze the, you know, the sides that aren't heated. You don't want to squeeze on a heated part because, of course, you know, it's going to be softer. So I'm trying to push essentially this out without welding anything on it yet. You know, as far as I can get it out without really putting too much weld. Again, I don't want to put a whole lot of weld, you know, as filler, but, you know, there's certain little things that, you know, like this little guy, I mean, you know, it's realistically, you know, I could probably still work on it, get it out, so I might do that. But some of this other stuff, not so much. I'll have to probably put a little tack here and there. It's no big deal. You know, again, I don't want to Bondo it. I want it metal finished, so that way when it goes to powder coat, it's all good. Again, put a little heat to it. Nothing crazy. You know, it's just a little MAP gas torch. So I'm just getting a little bit red. Right before it starts turning red, I'll start clamping it down and pushing that dent out. You gotta be careful with it, but it's getting there. So yeah, I'll get you on the next one. All right, so I think I'm about as far as I can get with it with just the torch, and then clamping it, unclamping it, clamping it, clamping it, so on and so forth. Just a lot of working the vice grips, kind of smushing some metal around a little bit. Basically heat it up where you want it to move, and don't clamp where it's heated because, of course, you're going to crush it in. But as you can see, this thing's gone from pretty rough to, I mean, it's like just a bunch of little nicks and stuff. So I'm going to, you know, like I said, I don't want to use Bondo. I'm going to put like a little tack, little tack, little tack. I mean, nothing much. And then I'm going to metal work it over so that way it's nice and smooth. You won't even know it was ever repaired. You know, and it would be just as good, if not new condition looking. So as you can see, it's straight. You know, anything that you do see right there is just because, you know, it's dirty. It's, you know, got heat marks all over it and stuff. But as I metal work it down, clean her up, and get it nice and smooth, like I said, you'll never even know that it was even repaired. And as you can see, so I worked this one a little bit more, but like I said early on, I mean, that's straight dented in. It didn't really flare the tube, it just dented in, but I did get it out a little bit. But it's so small. Again, I'm just gonna put a little tack there, metal work it, be good as gold. And then this guy, this big dent, is starting to come out. You know, as you saw before, it was pretty big. I'm not done with it. I'd probably still clamp it down there and push that metal up a little bit. Just letting my stuff cool down for a second. I gotta clean off my welding bench anyways. So as that stuff is cooling, I'm gonna make some room to lay this frame up on the welding table because my fucking place is trashed in here. I've car shows and bike stuff and motorcycle stuff. I mean, it's just, again, 15 projects going at once. So, again, I'm going to get it done, and then I'm going to start addressing this dropout. Dropout I'm not too concerned about. Again, dropouts are easy. It's just plate. You know, I'll have to weld in like a little piece right there, fill it in, blend it in. I'll probably fix that little portion right there. And then there's a little thing that needs a weld right there. But yeah, it'll be looking good here in a little bit. Again, I've been doing this just first half of the day, so getting it all done, getting it all straight, and then I don't know if I have to do any work to my next project, which I'll go ahead and show you. Hopefully I don't burn myself here because this thing is hot in the back end a little bit. So that's the next one. Again, this one, it's relatively clean, except for it does have, let me flip her over here. It does have a little bit of damage. And truthfully, I don't even think it's in the metal hardly, except for maybe like that one. But the rest of the frame is good. I'll probably have to fix that dropout a little bit just to get it squared off because it's got a little bit of grindage mark. But this is a cast-in made T1. You know, I'm sure a lot of people that watch this stuff, it's a no-brainer to some. But yeah, cast-in made. You got the cast-in head tube there. It's welded on the back side, among other little features that you'll notice, the asymmetrical dropouts. And yeah, made in Mexico is where these things are supposedly made, Tijuana or something like that, as the story goes. So again, I picked this up off Marketplace. Hell of a deal. Shout out to the guy that sold it. I mean, I couldn't walk away from that deal. So I'm gonna probably refinish this, and I want to make this, I think, a Taj tribute bike. So see where that ends up. I gotta collect all the parts and stuff, but again, my focus is that, and then I'll be jumping on this, and I might do a little quick video, but this one's going to be relatively simple compared to the Killing Machine. Killing Machine's a can of worms. So, yep. So there's the solid. Never mind the junk box right there of parts, but yeah, I'm about to clean up my table, and so that way I can get started on this guy. As you've seen, you know, I got some primer just kind of put on there, so that way I can kind of see what I'm highs and lows and stuff. So again, I gotta fix that stuff. But same thing, reason why I bring it up, same thing with this one. Again, mid-school stuff. It got beat on, so let me flip this guy around. So the Dropout had a little, real minor, but I'm gonna square that off if it zooms in right. But I'm gonna square that off, get that looking showroom fresh. But then over here, as you can see, there's a few dings and stuff. I'm not gonna be able to get those out, you know, with vice grips and heat, and I don't want to. So I'll just do tack, and then tack maybe. And that's really about it. Other than that, this frame's pretty good. I mean, even the powder coat was still good on it for the most part. I mean, it's scuffed, but again, if I'm taking it to shows, I need to make it kind of perfect. So this is a cast-in made one, of course. So let's I'm gonna go ahead and jump on the other one, and I'll feature the buildup of these two bikes. You know, this one will be, of course, separate. This one, I think I'm gonna do a Taj build, so we'll see. All right, I got the frames kind of welded up. They're just kind of booger welded up to make them where I can knock some of this material down. I'll show you the T1, and then I'll kind of briefly show you the other, the killing machine. So, but you know, not to get too far into the T1 details, but yeah, I'll show you. All right, so check this out. I mean, sometimes I wow myself, not to sound cocky on this, but that's where that dent was. And that's no weld. That's just me working it out. So, I mean, it probably doesn't even need a weld. If I just kind of did a little bit more sanding on it, that thing won't be visible after powder coats on it. So it is, again, you might be able to see a little bit, but for how deep that dent was and how big it was, that thing is essentially gone. I could probably work it a little bit more, but I'm gonna metal finish a little bit, just do some lighter sand grits and see where it looks like, see if it stands out. I might shoot some primer on it just to see if it's visible through paint or not. And again, I got these other spots on here. Again, that's not going to come out. All right, I already know that. That's going to have to be filled. It's just a little like scrape gouge kind of thing. And then that guy, you know, I have to put some tacks in there, but I mean, really, when you see it in person, it's not that bad. I mean, it's not noticeable when you flip the frame around. 'Cause, I mean, when it's sitting like that, you don't even see it there. So, again, getting there. So, gotta keep working on it. Yep. All right, so I metal finished it, cleaned it up. Still got a little bit of wave. It's not super noticeable. It's, you know, I'm just kind of worried that when it goes, I might push that in right there. I think that's going to be the ticket. I don't think it's going to get much better. I don't really want to put any weld on it if I don't have to. So, I'll try to push that in right there. And then I'll shoot some primer on. I'll scuff it back down and then shoot some primer. Polished it out real quick just to see kind of what it's going to look like. When, you know, the stuff gets shiny, that's when you start seeing some imperfections. That's why they always say gloss black is the worst color to paint. So again, I'm going to push that in a little bit and see what it looks like afterwards. Unfortunately, I got to keep metal finishing it to bring it back to a shine like this. So, well, yep, we'll see where it ends up. So, yeah, it's pretty much there. I mean, I could polish it out some more, but I think it's going to be one of the cases like I was talking about where just leave well enough alone. I might put a little bit of a weld right there and just kind of, I got a little bit of a high and low right there. again, from where this thing was, dent-wise, to where it's at now, I mean, that's night and day. And truthfully, I think once the powder's on it, it's going to be hardly noticeable, if at all. But I need to address the chainstays. And then, yeah, I'm going to weld some of these highs and lows and metal finish them. And I mean, truthfully, that's all I got to do left on this thing besides the Dropout. This thing was a fucking mess. So, you know, it was originally a raw frame to begin with. Can't go back to raw, but, again, well, actually you could, but I'm not going to. I'm going to figure out a color to put this. Might go white, might go maroon. I'm going to hit up some contacts here. Shad says he might be able to get me some paint codes. So I want to make it look right. And then I'll get a sticker kit and everything, and yeah. So you can see where I fixed the Dropout right there. I just added some material, just kind of melted it in. So that way I can kind of grind it down, square it off. So that way there's enough material there. That way it looks right. And then this guy, just kind of put a couple of dabs, you know, where those two little dents were. I'm not going to worry about that one. I think powder coat will take care of that. So that's really it for the T1. There is this little spot right here where the bottom bracket got kind of chewed, but I'm just going to smoothen that. I don't want to put any weld on there because it is a tolerance fit, so I don't want to mess with that too much. So I'm just going to clean it up best I can and kind of leave it alone. So I'm going to let these two guys cool off. There's the solid. You can see one little weld there. But yeah, and of course I still got to do the dropouts. I'm not doing the dropouts right away on the solid. I'm gonna wait because again I have to make some metal. So that's the dropout's gonna be a little bit more than the T1 because T1 was just a little bit of weld bead right there. So that way I can grind it in and smooth it in. So that way it looks like it was never even ridden, hopefully. And yeah. So while the killing machine over there was cooling off from some welding, I went ahead and started focusing a little bit on the T1, give it some TLC. I mean it's so close to powder coat ready that you know, downtime I figured go ahead and knock some of the stuff out. So I'll go ahead and show y'all what's going on with it, even though this is more for the solid. Of course the T1 is probably just going to become a build video rather than a fabrication video because it's, again, not a whole lot of stuff going on. So I do still need to address that bottom bracket little corner right there, but going up, so I got that stay really clean that had the rash, had the two little gouges, so that thing is pretty straight, pretty clean. And then I'm pretty happy with the Dropout. Again, it had a little bit of grindage. The shape was still there, but that little edge was missing. So stacked some weld up on it, and then metal finished it. So yeah, that thing is ready for powder coat. I mean, that's probably cleaner than it was from the factory. So yeah, that thing's pretty much done except for the bottom bracket, which is very minor. You know, I'm not going to trouble y'all with seeing that. You'll see it whenever it's all powder coated and done. So this thing's pretty much a wrap. So I got to get back on that killing machine. Okay, so I think we got it all done as far as the tubes go. I'm going to call it a night for at least tonight. I worked on the dropouts a little bit. Got it as close to good on the bottom of the Dropout. And then the tubes, I don't think they're going to get much better. They're not bad at all. I mean, they're good. So again, yeah, I'll show you what I've done and see what y'all think. And of course, if you got any suggestions or anything, or criticism, I'm always down for criticism, good or bad. It's always useful. So it's not just talking shit, but yeah. So I'll show you what I've gotten done. I sprayed it with some primer and some spots just to kind of see highs and lows. So if you're wondering what the gray and stuff is, that's what it is, of course. But yeah, let me flip this camera around, get you, you know, see what I've done. All right, there she is. So all the tubes are good. Again, I was working on that dropout a little bit. I still got to do the piece up there. I got to cut a piece of metal out for that. But the other, I just tacked until I had enough meat. There wasn't a whole lot cut off on the bottom or grinded off. So again, that's the frame. So again, the head tube, you know, where the tabs were. Again, this is all primer. I mean, this stuff's, but you can see they're gone. There's nothing really in the main tubes that was bad. So thank God, because that's, you know, big stuff right there. But yeah, when you come to the back, so if you remember right, let's see here. We had that little nick that I was kind of worried about. That was right there, I think. So that's gone. And then let me flip this bad boy around. Wheel it over here. So again, we had that big dent right there. So that was that's gotten fixed. So I can feel a little bit of distortion, but I mean, you can't see it. I mean, you have to really look. So, and again, I didn't do any filler on that. That's just straight pressed out the dent and kept going with it. And then we had that stuff. Let's see if I can get this thing mounted right there. That was that chainstay that was pretty gnarly. Again, got that fixed. So yeah, actually this side I think that's a good sign when I can't tell the difference. This was the side that had all the gnarly dents. So again, it's straight, looks good. You know, once the powder's on it, that thing's gonna be prime time. I mean, let me see here. Dropout matches the other side. Chain stays. You can tell there was dents in it. I mean, you gotta remember, this was the one that was all kind of distorted and smashed, and that thing is good. At least I think so. Let me know what you think. And again, that had the little nick in it, right? Let's see, it was probably right about there. And then that had the dent that, again, didn't get filled. I just pushed it out. So yeah, that kind of wielding this thing around all crazy. Yeah, I'll flip it right side up. So again, it's done except for the dropout, which I'll take care of tomorrow. And so being that the T1 is done and then this guy is done, they'll probably go to powder coat together. Try to give the guy as much powder coat stuff so that way he hooks me up on a deal, because this all comes out of my pocket. But yeah, and then the build videos start coming. So I think we're going to cut this off once I get the dropouts done. And so that way you can just see frame repair. Not a lot of guys are doing this stuff. I mean, it's easy enough to assemble a bike, but when it comes to damages and repairing them, it's not pretty, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. I mean, if you have something super rare, it'd be a tough one. I mean, I have my rigid, and I don't even want to repair that thing, but I kind of like it all Survivor. So those who know, you know, I have a rigid. It's in Survivor condition, but I plan on taking this to shows. Sadly enough, if they're in Survivor conditions, they get overlooked, and I wish it was different, because I do like to see Survivor mid-school bikes. But yeah, this one has no real sentimental attachment to me. So again, just getting it all straight and everything, and then just gonna make it badass, put some badass parts on it, and just make it really nostalgic just for the mid-school. I'm sure all the mid-school guys always love the killing machines. So I'm gonna sand this down probably a little bit more, and so that way my powder coat guy doesn't yell at me. So, yep. All right, guys, it's the next day, so I'm gonna go and get this these dropouts fixed. I've painted the frame roughly. It's just, you know, quickly rattle blasted, just kind of protect the metal, but it also shows roughly where we're at on this. And then I'm just gonna take this plate of steel, this little bar, which I put a chamfer on it, so that way it will weld in and blend in real easily, and it'll be tied into the metal permanently. So that way, you know, it's the right thickness and everything, and it's a high grade piece of metal. And I'm just gonna stitch it onto that part that is cut off, and I'll flip this around here and show you what all is going on. I'm going to fix the slots in the dropout. Like I said, somebody cut that dropout in a little bit, so you saw the hacksaw marks, and so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. I mean, it's not super major, but you know, just kind of, if I'm doing all this to it, might as well fix that too, make it perfect. So let me flip this around, show you what's going on. So again, I just quickly rattle blasted this thing. So, but you can see it's looking like it should. That's the dropout. So I clean the metal, and I'm literally just gonna stitch this guy on like this, and then I will cut it to shape once it's on there. I could sit there and go and do a template of the other one, but I'm gonna actually kind of eyeball it in. I will probably still take a template of the good side, just to make sure that I'm in the ballpark. But I'd rather, you know, even though this chunk of metal is pretty big, I'd rather have too much metal than not enough. And again, I will tie that in, and then I'll cut it to size, and once it's stitched on there. And then, like I was saying, those dropouts, they got the hacksaw marks. I've roughly ground it down just so I got some fresh metal to start welding on. You know, I'll probably just bring it back just a little bit, because, you know, I used to do this. A lot of people in the mid-school guys would do this, where they would try to get the back ends as slammed all the way, because, you know, at that era, we were still kind of contending with long back ends. And a lot of people wanted their back ends shorter and shorter and shorter. Now we're going kind of the opposite. Now people want longer back ends and big sprockets. So I'm going to, you know, put some weld in there, build it up, and then I will work it back in to look like a normal dropout. So once that's all done, that'll be good, and kind of show you where we're at. So again, that's the repaired stay. That's the one that was the really bad one that had the dents. So I think it's going to powder coat pretty nice. I mean, you can't really see anything, and this is just spray paint, so the powder coat probably be a little bit thicker than the spray paint, of course. And again, I just roughly painted it. I didn't want it to flash rust. I gotta fix this side too a little bit. You can see where it was trimmed in a little bit. Again, I grinded some metal so that way I get some freshness, and so that way I can kind of get some weld up on there, and then that way it's good. Again, it's all getting there. So we're at the end of the tunnel, I guess you would say. So I'll show you what I've done. All right, so I got the tack on there. That's looking pretty straight. So I'll put another tack course on that other side so that way it doesn't distort on me. I might just do a little root pass, make sure I get a good one. Then I'll do a cap on that, and that way it will be pretty strong. I mean, it'll be stronger than, you know, just straight plate, really. And then I will grind and finish the sides there, and that way it doesn't look like anything was ever done. So, and trying to make it look like this other guy over here. So got enough meat on there to get it cut down and get it right. So all right, got the root pass. That's no filler. That's not, of course, finished. You can see it recesses down a little bit. So that's my root pass. I just did it fusion, so that way I'll come back over, I'll put a cap over it, and that way when I grind it down, it'll be nice and strong, and also very pretty, I guess you'd say. That way it's strong. It won't. This thing's not going to break off, especially being on the top of it. I mean, this thing is just for aesthetics, but again, making it look like the other one. All right, so check it out. I got that little piece of the Dropout welded in, so that's going to get smoothed in and trimmed and ready to go. It is hot, super hot right now, so it takes a lot to heat up this plate. I mean, and then I got the weld done, the cap done. I had to add a little bit extra there because I started having a little bit of runoff issue, so no big deal. Again, it's just the cap, so that way I fattened it up a little bit. And so I need to flip this thing over, but I don't want to put too much heat in it right yet, so I'm going to let it cool. You know, it's going to take probably about 5-10 minutes to cool off, so I'm going to just let it sit there and cool for a little bit, and that way I can flip it over and weld the other side. And don't forget, I got to do that other Dropout too, so just to fix that little filed in stuff. So so yeah, let me let this cool and I'll be right back at it. All right, as you can see, I marked it out. I'm going to rough cut right there. I'm going to, you know, of course, cut the chunks off right there, and that will kind of give me a start of where I need to start trimming. I do have a little low spot right there. I'm going to weld in right after I cut it, and then on the back side, I'm about to weld it, and so I grooved it out so that way I can run my bead down, and it should be strong. And I started on the Dropout here. As you can see, the cut marks are gone. I'm going to clean it up with a file. I still need to weld the back side, and then this side, of course, needs to get welded. And once I do that, then it's just shaping the top of the Dropout down, getting it all good, and that's almost a wrap. So as you can see, there's the groove in the back that I'm about to fill in. I went ahead and shaped the Dropout, kind of get it somewhere in the ballpark. It's pretty close. So that just shows how little of material that I actually saved from that bar. So really it's just a little bit that got cut off. Again, don't know why it got cut off. It's kind of weird to cut the top off, especially when you don't shorten the Dropout. But they did, so here I am fixing it. So again, there's that little spot up there, went ahead and hit that, and then down here, just clean up the axle, did the same thing down here, just kind of fill in some stuff around that Dropout. I'm going to clean it up, and then I'm going to round it off. It's going to take a lot of hand filing, but then, yeah, I'm going to get some metal finish done on it. Again, Dropout's looking pretty good in its rough shape, and once it's cleaned up, it will look right. It will look like this other one. So, again, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and see what she'll look like. All right, so I about finished what I want to do here. The Dropouts, they're pretty good. I went ahead and slapped some black paint over it. Tomorrow I gotta get some more sanding pads because my orbital sander will not fit into the inside of the Dropout. So I'm gonna get some pads for my mouse sander, and I'm gonna work it pretty good. Again, kind of show y'all where I'm at here. So it's always a good sign whenever you can't tell which one was repaired and which one wasn't. Kind of like the chain stays. So check it out. You got this one, and the paint's kind of wrinkly and wet looking, but yeah, I got this one, and then I got this one on this side, so it's pretty hard to tell. And this one is actually the one that got repaired. This one is the original. So again, they look the same. Spin this thing around so you can see the outside. So again, I mean, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. I'm sure if you got like a micrometer up on them or something, you might be able to tell, but yeah, they're damn near close. You gotta remember that I added metal on the bottom and then a bunch of metal up top here, because it was slash cut down, and then also I welded in the dropout where it was cut all weird. So yeah, there. So that dropout got worked pretty good. And then the other one, it was just the slot fix. So pretty close to good. And yeah, I'm happy with it. But again, like I said, I'm going to go and get some sanding pads, sand those dropouts down again, and then metal finish them out a little bit more maybe. I think they're fine for powder coat, you know, but my OCD got me wanting to sand some more on them. So we'll see. Yeah, and of course this paint is not staying. It is temporary. It's just to keep it from rusting, keep the bare metal, and then also so that way I can see if there's any imperfections or anything I need to go back and address. But I think it looks all good. It's pretty close to done. So then, like I said, once I get done with that, I'll take that and the the barcode, go get those powder coated. That's going to go tan. I think I'm going to do white or maroon, close to the maroon that this guy is. I'm trying to get the paint codes for the killing machines. So we'll see what color comes out. Maybe I'll just make it a surprise for the build video. And then I also got to get the sticker kit for it. But yeah, I'll show you one last shot here during daylight and see what you think. All right, guys, so here's the next day. It's kind of overcasted today. We're in Texas. Show you kind of where I'm at and show basically I think I'm going to leave it at this point. I think it's good enough to go to powder coat. You know, I could probably file a little bit more, but I don't want to get myself into where I have to redo something because I cut too much into the metal. So again, I think the powder coat's gonna cover up anything beyond. So let me flip this around and show you where I'm at. So again, this is the repaired side. That's the non-repaired side. So I went ahead and sanded it down on the inside and outside, got it nice and smooth. And so that way, I could probably clean up a little bit more right there. I don't think it's that bad. I do have a Dremel, I might hit it. I don't know yet, but I mean, I'm pretty good where it's come now. So again, let me know what you think. So again, it's all straight. Dropouts are looking good. There's no more dents on it. They got all fixed. And yeah, so again, yeah, this thing is, I think, ready to go to powder coat. And I'm gonna start mocking some stuff up, and then that way I'll know everything fits and all that. I do need a few more parts to get this thing rolling, but in the meantime, I just want to get mocked up and see what all works and what doesn't. So yep. And again, I'd like to thank Shad and Snakebite and the whole gist of it all. He does help me a lot with some pointers and stuff. So you'll see a lot of that in the build videos coming up. You know, there's not much more left on this end of the repair side. So I'm going to call it quits on the video here. And again, follow Snakebite and all that stuff. Like, subscribe, whatever they all say on YouTube. And then again, I'm always open to criticism. If you got anything to add that I might have missed, or way that you would do it differently, I'm open to suggestions. You know, you're not going to hurt my feelings. And again, yeah, hopefully you'll see the T1 get built up too here soon. Kind of doing 2 project bikes at once, which kind of makes it a little challenging, you know, because even if you have the money for the parts, just finding some of the parts these days are not too easy. Yeah, so looking for solid stuff, looking for T1 stuff, and again, it's almost impossible to find. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and look forward to more.